Good evening, everyone. I will call this meeting to order of the Lawrence City Council for the month of January. We'll begin tonight with an invocation led by Councilor Alicia Sullivan, and then I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would please stand for the invocation, remain standing for the pledge.
Heavenly Father, thank you this day for allowing us to gather and discuss the business of the town. Thank you for allowing us to make it to 2024. We pray that you continue to bless our endeavors, our unity, and guide us. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. I just have a couple opening remarks this evening. We had a wonderful celebration of Martin Luther King weekend this past weekend. We had a parade, which was, as I understand it from Sanders alumni, the largest parade that they have had in the now 26-year history of that event. And then following that, there was a luncheon for the parents and students who participated in a writing and oratory competition that was sponsored by the City of Lawrence and the Sanders alumni. And I want to convey to all of you what a tremendous encouragement it was to hear from our young people. And I told them at the event that I have no doubt that we'll be in good shape with the leaders of the future coming forward. The values that were expressed by our young people were very well received and is a sign of hope for the future. So moving on from that, work quickly turned this morning back to the business of the city after the holiday weekend, and we went and checked on the progress of our council chambers and the progress at the municipal building, and that work is progressing after some contractor delays. We've managed to get them back on track, and our estimated timetable at this point is to be in by the beginning of March. They hope to be out by the end of February. And we have a date right now for everybody to put on their calendars of a celebration of that building to take place at our regular April meeting. So the third Tuesday in April at 5:30 in a couple months. We've got business before us, which may take some time. So I want to go ahead and proceed with our tonight's agenda without any more of a report from me, but to the extent the council has any other questions about anything else going on in the city, I'm happy to answer those offline. We move on to the next section in our agenda, which is public comment. Thank you. I do know we have 4 individuals who signed up to speak. Typically, the agenda would designate that you would need to speak, or to sign up to speak 24 hours before the meeting in order to be called upon in a regular public comment period. However, because the new business before us tonight is a public hearing, I'm going to call on the names who have signed up to speak as part of the public hearing to address council. We would ask that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes. I will do my best to keep it us on track with regard to time. So if I call time on you, I don't mean any disrespect by that. I'm just trying to play by the rules with everybody. So the first name that we have is Hugh Stone. Mr. Stone, if you care to address council, you're welcome to come forward here and
Okay, I didn't even know I was on the list to talk. So.
okay.
I live over in the neighborhood behind the Topic Lounge. And when I saw that there was like 25 phone calls to the police department, and I heard there were some shots fired, I just don't want that in our neighborhood, and that's the reason I'm here.
Thanks, sir. All righty. Next up, we have Scott and Janice Holland. Ms. Holland?
Well, I likewise didn't sign up, didn't know I was going to.
So this don't make no sense. If they didn't sign up, then nobody know that by signing up.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'll keep order.
Okay.
Like you, I live in the Westgate neighborhood, behind the Topic Lounge. And, other than the shots fired, I haven't had any problem with them. But I do have a problem with, I think there've been 3 instances of shots fired since last March. That's way more frequent than I want that near to my house. And I would think it'd be way more frequent than anyone would want near to their residence. I don't know what the cause of it is. I think most of the time the shots were occurring after somebody came out of the lounge and shooting arguments in the parking lot. That's hard for an owner to control. I understand that. But it's also hard to tolerate. You live within easy range of those shots. So I would hope that the council will take into consideration the number of instances of all types, and certainly these 3 particularly dangerous ones.
Thank you, Ms. Holland. The next member I have on the sign-in sheet is Ms. Tony Abel. Ms. Abel, did you sign up with an intention?
Yes, sir. I intentionally did, yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and members of City Council for allowing me to speak this evening. I am Tony Abel, and I live in the city of Lawrence, approximately 2 football fields away from the Topic Lounge. I'm here today to speak in opposition of the Topic Lounge business license renewal. I personally have called 911 to report excessive noise coming from the Topic Lounge at least 3 times after 10 p.m. Since on or about March the 10th of 2023, there have been 3 shooting incidences at the Topic Lounge. The second one on Wednesday, November 22nd. The most recent shooting occurred on December 29th at approximately 10:45 p.m. I was rocking my granddaughter back to sleep in our guest room when I heard the distinct sounds of rapid gunfire. This was not only extremely alarming, but very unnerving. I am thankful that no one, to my knowledge, has been killed. With the number of times that law enforcement has been called to this business, 25 times in the last 3 months, I urge City Council not to reinstate the business license for the Topic Lounge. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And the last name we have is Lloyd Medina. Mr. Medina? All right. If that is all the public comment we have signed up to speak, we'll move on from the public hearing section and move on to the consent agenda. The items before us for the consent agenda this evening are approval of tonight's agenda and approval of the minutes from our regular meeting of December 19th, 2023. Do I have?
Did any opposing personnel get to sign up to speak?
The holidays.
It will close Friday and Martin Monday.
That's 24 hours.
So these names are names of people who signed up as they came in the door.
See, didn't nobody even tell us? We had no knowledge to this.
We
Right.
allow 3 people to speak in opposition of the ones that just spoke, to make it fair.
Everybody who didn't sign up should get to speak also.
I want to keep order here. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody here at this meeting, but the individuals who are recognized to speak by City Council are either going to be at the invitation of the chair, as I have done in the public comment period, or members of city council. But it is not appropriate for folks that are sitting in a gallery to speak when it is city council's time to deliberate. Ms. Sullivan, I want to play by the rules. I want to go according to good and proper order. We have allowed folks who signed up less than 24 hours to speak. I called on everybody who came in and signed up. I wouldn't know under the circumstances who to call upon because those individuals had not signed up. So for me to sort of pick individuals at random and choose this individual over that individual, I don't think would be appropriate on my part. If you would like to make a motion to that effect and have council have a vote as to how to proceed.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
They can speak.
All right, so what is your motion?
I will make a motion to include 3 members of the opposing complaint to be allowed to speak on the public agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Is there, during the hearing, is there going to be discussion on both sides as well?
Well, the way this hearing will go, that's a good question. This is an appeal from an administrative decision that was made. So the representatives from Topic Lounge would make their case to City Council, present their reasonings for why they believe the administrative decision was made in error, and then a representative from the city would have an opportunity to respond to that, so City Council would have an opportunity to hear both sides.
Yes, sir.
And then if City Council had questions for either city staff or the representatives of Topic Lounge, City Council would have the opportunity to present those questions and be able to make an informed decision. But beyond that, having a public hearing from individuals who haven't signed up to speak, I have some concern because I would just simply be picking at random. No, you're saying City Council needs to hear from people from the opposite side, but I don't know who those people would be or whether they're willing to speak. Anything?
You not ask the question, because I know 2 of them would like to speak.
Those would be individuals who aren't part of Topic Lounge.
Yes, sir.
And I think it was a public hearing as such, since you had 3 opposition, I think they should have the right to.
Certainly, whatever the will of council is on that, I'm happy to proceed accordingly.
I think that would be only proper for them to have a say-so as well, since we didn't have the time and they didn't know. Nobody told them about a sign-up sheet. So right now, where we are, you can ask who, if you're going to do 3 or whatever, would like to speak. It's like you have the names there, or they can give you their name to put on the poses. But that's what I feel would be safe. Like this, what we're doing now, one-sided. Bring it together and let the same amount, 1 or 2 or 3.
Certainly. I mean, we want to be fair in everything that we do.
Right, that's right.
Is there any further discussion?
I'm not sure it really, I mean, it's fair if somebody wants to speak in opposition. I mean, we're going to hear the hearing. It's just, this is just a precursor to the hearing. So for 10 minutes.
I would limit
3 minutes.
3 minutes for each individual, the same way I did for the first.
9 minutes.
Yeah. Mr. Ball, do you have any comments?
Well, I hope we're not setting a precedent about, coming off of our standard, Robert's Rules of Procedure of Order, I think, everyone should have a voice, I guess, but if they come back at another meeting and sign up and express their opinion, I mean, we can't, it's going to be a process. It's a hearing, so,
Because it was an unusual circumstance with a holiday right behind the meeting, I think it would be fair to go ahead and grant 3 people 3 minutes. And then we can move forward.
My question is the process for selecting which 3 people who have not signed up.
It would be a volunteer basis if anyone would like to speak. I mean, I don't know these people, I'm quite sure if anyone would like to speak. May not be no one who would like to speak, so we just open it up to them. Since they did not know, and then we had, as I said, we had a holiday, we are closed now on Friday and holiday on Monday, and they did not know they could sign up.
All right. Is there any further discussion on Ms. Sullivan's motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those who would approve Ms. Sullivan's motion to allow 3 additional individuals who wish to come forward to speak on behalf of Topic Lounge the ability to do so, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. All right, the measure is approved. I don't want to create a mad rush to the front of council chambers, but I will have the sign-up sheet here, and the first 3 individuals who wish to speak, I will call them.
Just 3, you late.
For us, right, he against us.
I'm afraid we have 3, sir.
He's not. He's opposing.
He's on the opposing.
He's on the opposing side.
Mr. Medina, under the terms of the motion that was made, I believe the motion specified that 3 individuals in support of Topic Lounge's position would be allowed to speak. I don't mean any disrespect to you or your right to be heard, but if we're playing by the rules, by the motion that was made by City Council.
Well, if I heard it correctly, your measure said you were going to give 3 people permission to speak. I didn't hear you specify that it had to be 4 of them.
I believe the motion that was made by Ms. Sullivan did specify that it would be in support of Topic Lounge.
Can I ask a question?
Councilor Bolt.
You had 3 to sign up. Are they residents of the city of Lawrence, or are they outside?
I'm not aware of Councilor Bolt. They don't all have their addresses beside them.
They don't particularly have to be a resident of the city in order to speak.
No, sir. As part of this public hearing period, it required that they be city residents. So, first individual to speak with Mr. Pulley, Xavier Pulley.
There's been a lot of say-so about Topic Lounge, but we have done a lot good in the community, which y'all don't talk about at all. We have a mentorship program. We fed the community. We did the June 19th fireworks show. Was none of that on the news or on the radio. Didn't have to hear anything good about Topic. Everything bad.
Oh, my God.
Anything, a lot of stuff can happen. I can't control it. Anywhere you go, the water hose bit, somebody got killed up there, they ain't shut down. It's the same thing. Stuff happen everywhere. It happened on that side of town, this side of town. I hired the police myself. I went to the police myself and hired them. They didn't come to me. I went to them. I hired them. Stuff still happened when I hired them. So what y'all want me to do? I mean, I run a legit business. I got security. Stuff happen. And look at the good side. Like I say, I do stuff for the community. Not just running no business. I do stuff for free for the community. If y'all haven't heard about it, I do for the community. You understand what I'm saying? Kids, I got pictures of kids. We give back to the community, all kind of stuff. It's just not no type of lamb, bang, bang, shoot them up. That's not the name I want. That's not the name I'm giving out. That's not, no, that ain't it.
Next individual is Sandrea Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Anderson.
Yes. Well, I'm speaking on behalf of Topic because, for one, like, we do ensure safety of our people inside the building where we are. We can't control what they do outside the building. Yeah, we have worked with the police, but we can no longer afford what they was charging us and the new rules they had made. Like, I respect authority. Every time something had happened, I went out my way to make sure that they need everything. They have everything they need to get to the bottom of whatever going on. But it have been 2 shootings on the premises. The other one was not on the premises or connected to anything on that topic. We wasn't aware of no 25 calls. We wasn't aware of half of the allegations that been said. Like in the papers and stuff, half of the stuff in the papers is not true. Unless it was stuff that was hid from us. We didn't know anything about it. So I think we need, if we have to work with the police on certain things to ensure safety or whatever in the community, we can. But we have done everything we can do to keep everybody in our building and around our building safe. We can't control people that get out there and act crazy just because they can't come in or whatever the situation is.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. And
Chad Robinson.
I'm sorry, could you please state your name again for the record?
Chad Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
Yes, I just want to address the fact that changes need to be made as far as Topic Lounge. And we talked about that. That's really the main issue. Turning it more into a restaurant and just having more security at all the events. So it's really basically like us sitting around talking about change and what we need to do to get it back in motion. So that has been discussed, and we plan on making full effort to making it happen. And we do want to keep it open and still continue to do positive things. And like everybody said, we can't help about things that go on outside the club. But inside the club and work on things getting better. That's all what it's about, working on things getting better and talking about that. We face the issues with each other, and that's what we want to do. Definitely turning more into a restaurant instead of more entertainment. Entertainment still will be a part of it, but it's definitely being more of a restaurant.
Thanks, sir. Okay. With that, I will call the public hearing of our agenda to a close, and we will move on to the consent agenda, which is approval of tonight's agenda and the minutes from our December 19th meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as printed.
I have a motion and a second. I believe Mr. Bolt got it in just under the wire. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor of approval of the items on the consent agenda, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. And the agenda is approved unanimously. All right, moving on to new business. As you are aware, the only item of new business before us tonight is an appeal from a denial of business license to Topic Lounge. The suspension or revocation of business license is governed by City Ordinance 14-39. When the license inspector determines that 1, a license has been mistakenly or improperly issued or issued contrary to the law. 2, a license has breached any condition upon which his license was issued or has failed to comply with the provisions of this article. 3, a licensee has obtained a license through fraud, misrepresentation, a false or misleading statement, evasion or suppression of material fact in the license application. 4, a licensee has been convicted of an offense under a law or ordinance regulating business, a crime involving dishonest conduct or moral turpitude, or unlawful sale of merchandise or prohibited goods, or a licensee has engaged in unlawful activity or nuisance related to the business. 6, the licensee is delinquent in the payment to the city of any tax or fee. The license inspector shall give written notice to the licensee or the person in control of the business within the city by personal service or registered mail that the license is suspended pending a hearing before the city council for the purpose of determining whether the license should be revoked. The notice shall state the time and place at which the hearing is to be held, which shall be at a regular or special council meeting within 30 days from the date of service of the notice. The notice shall contain a brief statement of the reasons for suspension and proposed revocation and a copy of the applicable provisions of this article. That is what brings us here tonight. We have before us a application for an appeal, which was submitted by Mr. Xavier Pulley, who has spoken with us already tonight briefly, but since this is his appeal to bring, the license inspector has determined, for reasons that we can hear from shortly, that it was appropriate under our ordinance to revoke or suspend the license. It is now Mr. Pulley's obligation to, in bringing an appeal before City Council, to present the reasons why that appeal should be granted, and for City Council to overturn the decision of the inspector and grant him a business license. So, Mr. Pulley, you have the floor. If you please stand.
I put a lot of money on Taco Lounge. I remodeled it. I did a lot for the community. They said they want to suspend the license because of the they said it was drug activity. There's been drug activity where I have nobody been arrested. Some of these calls, I asked the police who called, and then I got a petition from all the neighbors that surround me. I had my 2 managers go knock on people's door, asking if do they have a problem with the noise ordinance. Nobody had a problem. I got somebody beside me. I got somebody beside me, somebody behind me, and we even went to the back road. I don't know exactly if that's one of them or not, but we went back there. We talked to everybody. Everybody said it's not a problem. Like I understand, stuff happens with students and all kind of stuff, but I can't control that. Half of the time, I don't be there. That's what I pay people for, the security, everything, to be there to do that. You feel what I'm saying? I be at my business sometime, but I done put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into my business for somebody just to come take it away from me. 25 calls. I don't see 25 calls been there. And a lot of things like, how can I say this? Another thing, I didn't get this is my first time running a business like Taco Lounge, so it's a learning experience also. I didn't get a letter in the mail about my license being suspended or any of that. Like I renewed the liquor license. I had to do it one time before already, so I took care of the responsibility. I would have did the same thing with my business license, you know what I'm saying? I would have did the same exact thing. The SLED and the police have been there plenty of times. Everything checked out, paperwork checked out, everything checked out. We had no problems with the SLED or the police officer. I had a problem with Lawrence County Police before. So we had an incident where we don't tell them 24 hours before before they come, we still gotta pay them whatever. So I think I was late paying them one time, and they said they wanted me to, they wanted us to pay them on Tuesday. I had hired for Friday and Saturday. So Tuesdays, I never hired them, I never needed them, you understand what I'm saying? So I told them I did not need them on Tuesday. Ever since then, I haven't been having a problem with them. They gave me two $500 noise ordinance tickets for no reason. I asked them who called, what's going on, how loud my music need to be. I did the test. The officer told me to walk to the end of the road. If you can hear the music, it's not loud enough. I did that. I got paid two $500 tickets. They beat on Friday and Saturday. The music is the same amount, the same on Friday and Saturday when the police are there, but on Tuesday, it's the same amount Tuesday. So why would the police come on Tuesday and not come on Saturday, and Friday and Saturday? Like, I don't understand. I can't control what happens outside of the club. I got security out there. That's why I had the police out there. They had incidents. I had incidents while police officers were out there. They ran inside the club to see what was going on. I hired y'all to be outside to control the outside of the parking lot. I mean, I'm running a legitimate business. During the daytime, my mama come up there. Mama's 73 years old. I ain't got time for nobody to be shooting up there. She come up there to eat all the time. I got other elderly people coming there to eat all the time. I got kids that come up there to eat all the time. I do teen parties for the kids, get have something for the community for the teens to do. There's nothing for the kids to do in Lawrence right now. I mean, I feed people for free. I do all kind of stuff. It's just not no club. It's something I care about. It's my business. You know what I'm saying? I put a lot of money into this business. Just to take it away from me. I understand one thing about if I keep Topic open, I will have more security to help everyone feel safe, including the neighbors or everything. I feel like I can up boost security to make everything a little bit better. It would be more of a restaurant thing instead of a club thing. I'd rather for it to be a restaurant. That's not what it's purpose for. It's a club. It's like a lounge. It turned into that. People want to come have parties. I'll take the money, make me some business, have a party. Everything be under control, I'm fine with that. When stuff get out of control, I can't, that's not what it is. I can't handle that. A lot of stuff that's going on in that report are allegations, like I said. Said something about domestic violence. You can go to Walmart and get domestic violence. You can go to Chick-fil-A and get domestic violence. You can't just blame that on top of line of domestic violence. Drug activity. If it was drug activity, the police come up here and arrest somebody like y'all do for the shootings. I haven't seen any drug activity. They haven't told me about any drug activity. We can operate with them when anything's happen. I don't know where that came from on drug activity. That's pretty much all I got to say. I need to, I want it open. I want my business to stay open. I don't want it to be closed. I need to be open. I invested a lot. Like I said, I invested a lot of money into this business. It's just not no, I done remodeled enough. I done put time. I done put effort. I done help the community out. Like I said, I want my business open. And that's what I want.
Thank you, Mr. Pulley. At this time, I'd like to hear from the City of Lawrence. Chief, do I understand that you have a presentation?
Mayor and council, over the course of the last 14 months since Topic Lounge has been open, we have actually responded out there 34 times. We said more than 25 times. We documented all 34 incidents. There were 13 arrests that have occurred to those responses. Incidents range from attempted murder, 3 separate shootings. There was another firearms violation where a firearm was recovered out in the parking lot, multiple assaults, instances of domestic violence. We had 8 fights in progress we responded to. Drug use or possession of drugs. An individual that left there was driving under the influence, admitted he had the fentanyl and marijuana coming from the club. Another individual, we recovered a stolen vehicle at that location, countless parking and traffic congestion problems. We responded out there 11 times for noise ordinance violations. We gave 9 warnings. and he got 2 citations for that. We did attempt to work with him and tried to explain things with him, that we would provide security personnel. He didn't agree with the agreement that he signed, the security agreement, where he could cancel whenever he wanted to, and we had officers that had to spend their time, their days off, preparing to work at night out at this location. He refused to pay them, so we no longer had an agreement with him. It was null and void at that point. The shootings that occurred out in the parking lot where we would have been, if there was anything, we didn't have any shootings when we were out there in the parking lot. There was one shooting when we were out there. It was inside the club. We tried to rush into the club. They tried to prohibit us from going into the club to render aid to or engage the shooters. And their security personnel refused to cooperate with us. They wouldn't even give a statement. Thank God we did have video. Now the manager, Mr. Xavier Poole, did show us a video and cooperated with us as far as that goes. But his security personnel absolutely refused to cooperate and wanted to walk off the scene. In addition to this, there are 4 other alcohol establishments and bars in the city. All of those combined do not even come close to the amount of calls for service that we have out at this location. No assaults, no shootings, no violent crimes, no drugs. None of those calls came in the last 14 months from the 4 other alcohol establishments within the city limits. We even totaled a police car responding to one of the shootings where the officers were present in the parking lot, called for backup when their security refused to allow us to come inside. It was a very hostile situation, a lot of chaos going on. We hit a wet spot in the roadway. Officer could have been killed. Totaled out her patrol car, responded to that location, which creates an immense danger for the community, the public in general. We just recommend that City Council take all these things into consideration. I've been doing this 25 years. I've never had a business location that has had this many calls for service. A lot of these are crimes of violence. I feel personally that this is just one step away from a murder. I mean, we could have had several people murdered multiple times there. We get out there a lot of times after we get a 911 call from somebody's cell phone, and they track it to that exact location. And we get out there and they'll tell us nothing's occurred, but we'll hear in the background somebody had a gun or there was a fight. And it seems like a lot of that stuff is getting covered up. So yes, we had 34 calls for service in 14 months, but I believe there were a lot more calls for service. This is a nuisance business. It creates a danger to society. It is a disturbance to those that live around it. We have never gone out there or issued a ticket just self-initiating. We're not going out there looking for noise ordinance violations. If we get the calls, we respond. If we go out there and we do not corroborate it independently and hear it or see it ourselves, we do not write the citation. Like I said, we gave 9 warnings, and I told him myself, we had a meeting in my office, myself and Mr. Pulley, and I let him know from that point forward there would be no more warnings if we corroborated that there were violations. And he got 2 citations as a result of that. We ask that the council does not reinstate his business license and take the consideration of the community as a whole and their safety. Thank you.
At this time, I think it would be appropriate if City Council had any questions, either for Mr. Pulley or from Chief, to be able to ask those in making your decision. Council.
I'd like to ask the Chief one.
Council Ball.
He gave us this book right here. It's called, it's printed out and written in this book.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I based my information on that I hear tonight.
Yes, sir.
And each council member got one of these.
Absolutely. And there were some additional calls that weren't in that book, actually.
And this book.
Yes, sir. It's taken a lot of man hours. Hundreds of man hours have been spent dealing with this problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a clarification, this book is nothing more than public record. This is a public record of all the calls. They were just compiled for us. So this is information that it's not being held from anybody in the public. So everybody can get this. It just happens to be the chief compiled it to make it easy for us to see.
turn it down?
Whatever order. Ms. Miller, do you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I just have a comment about this. About this book and about communication with, Mr. Pulley. And to the citizens here. I know that what this book is saying, and the truth is in this here. However, have this been discussed properly with Mr. Pulley? Was he aware of all this? Because seemingly he is saying now that with the communication, and communication is very important in anything. And although this is black and white, he's aware. Is he aware of all this? Was he informed of all this stuff right here that's in this book?
Yes, as a matter of fact, myself and one of my captains, Captain Sherfield, were the first ones to originally go to him. I know he said earlier that he came to me. We actually went out to his establishment to speak to him about security protocols, some things he could do to help with the sound, the bass, all the different factors. We're trying to help him out. We wanted him to be able to run a reputable business within the city. And then we had a meeting in my office. So he was made quite aware. Some of these incidents have occurred post that last meeting that we had. In the last 38 days, we had 2 shootings before they were shut down.
Okay, with the last 38 days, with the 2 shootings for what was on Lawrence and whatnot, was that his responsibility because it happened in the parking lot?
So he was there, and he actually assisted with video with law enforcement.
I wasn't there.
Is that your video?
I wasn't there.
Okay, so his establishment provided video to law enforcement, which led to the arrest and helped us out.
So his camera caught those 3 guys that did this. So he still held responsible for it, although it happened outside in the parking lot.
He was not charged with attempted murder or any type of shooting.
It makes the business look bad, though, that somebody will shoot outside.
I don't mean to be rude or interrupt you, but I'd ask you not to speak unless you're called upon. Mr. Pulley, do you own or rent your premises?
I rent.
Is the parking lot included in the premises that you rent?
It comes with the business. Look, have some of the part when it comes to the business.
That is part of the leased property that you operate your business in, correct?
Correct.
And the people that park in that parking lot are your patrons?
Customers, patrons, you can call them that.
Explain to me why you wouldn't be just as responsible for one part of your leased premises as another part of your premises. Why would, it seems to me that you're asking city council to only hold you accountable for what happens inside the club and not outside the club.
When people get to their cars, it's not my responsibility. I mean, when they get to their cars, I don't know what they have in their cars. If somebody go to their car and get a gun, I'm not going after that. I don't know what goes on. I take care, make sure everything inside the building is fine. I hired Lawrence County Police for outside. That's what I had done. And I have hired officers outside of county, Lawrence County Police officers. I done got Newberry Police. I done got other people police to come instead of doing business with them.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And also, and then you want to talk about Montessori, one thing. The neighbor beside my club, Lawrence County Police arrested him for calling too many times on the club. They arrested him. They gave him a misuse of the phone. So he called these 15 times out of those 34 calls. They arrested him for keep on making complaints on the club about noise ordering. They put it in the book. That's asked them did it happen. They really did that.
How many shootings is an acceptable number of shootings to you?
None ain't no acceptable. None is not acceptable. I mean, I can't help it. Somebody shooting in the parking lot. I got security.
At what point does a business, in your mind, at what point does a business become a nuisance to its neighbor?
When I would say, community is threatened by it, I would say that when something that everybody agreed, like,
May I say something, Mr. Mayor?
Ms. Pulley, were you finished with your answer?
I'm not going to.
Ms. Holden?
How long you been in business?
I got a couple of business, but this is my first time being in the business. Top of this 14 months, but I have 3 businesses.
Chief Grosnell, you mentioned other establishments.
Yes.
Said that, they also had a list of calls, but not as many as Topic Lounge.
They had calls, yes.
Did you make a book
Yes, that's
of
right.
those other ones like you did
It
Topic?
was a lot smaller because there aren't that many calls. So the average in 14 months, one establishment, Rack and Roll, had 3 calls. The highest was Palmetto Brothers downtown had 7 calls. In that one, 3 of those were EMS calls. One was said to be an assault. It wasn't an assault. It was actually just misinformation that came out. There was no violence, any drugs, any shootings, or anything like that. And Big Daddy's, Rack and Roll, Palmetto Brothers, and the VFW.
Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to keep order.
So, okay, so anyway, that was within 14 months.
This is in a 14-month period.
The same amount of time. Now, take under consideration what he said about the 14 calls that was called, that was misused calls. So
That doesn't count as, that doesn't even count in here.
They don't
We don't
count.
count those as separate calls like that. If it's one day, we go out to a location, we'll go out to that location. But if there's no arrest, there's not an arrest, it doesn't count.
Okay. But the discussion and the topic, the decision tonight is to revoke the license, right? The business license, because of it's coming into, it's not aligning with the ordinance, basically, what you're saying.
The license has already been revoked.
Already revoked.
And so this is an appeal of that administrative decision to revoke the license. The reasons which the license inspector would have, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but what I heard from the chief is that this business has engaged in nuisance related to the business, which is covered under subsection 5 of section 14-39. It would be council's decision to determine whether or not the circumstances
This is
warrant a nuisance to the community.
But this is what grabs my attention. The young man stood and said that it's a new business, 14 months, and no calls are acceptable, no shootings are acceptable when the community is in danger. But what I'm thinking about is he just said he's new to the business and he's just learning. And I think this is where we drop the ball when new entrepreneurs come into and they're trying to learn things. We don't take them by the hand and try to help them move forward with their trial and error. Now it's another club that's up on 14. When they first got started, it was a lot of fights. It was a lot going on up there. But across the road is a lot of apartment complexes, and they're not prone to do a lot of calls like a neighborhood would. We're just gonna be honest. So what I'm saying is there any type of grace period that we can grant them or table this and allow them to work on the profession part of the business so that they can be successful? And also, I don't know, he said he talked to the community. You said you had a petition.
Yeah, I talked to my neighbors. The neighbors around with like 5 people around the
And the petition, they in support of you?
Yeah, they said they don't have no problem. You don't bother us all. We have no complaints. We haven't called the police or anything.
So that's what's weighing on me, the petition, the fact that he said that he's a new business, that he's passionate about it, and he's not for all the wrong things that's been happening. That's what I'm that's what's gravitating towards me. And also, the fact that you had 14 prank calls or misuse calls. Those are the three things that stand up in my mind that I really would like council to take in consideration. Are you a member of the Chamber of Commerce?
No, I'm not.
So, and that's another thing, stuff like that, you need to be ushered into knowing how to professionally groom a business, being a member of the chamber, knowing what to do, networking with other people that has clubs, which we don't, I don't think, but those other four guys, I would befriend them, but I would really ask council to take that in consideration because I didn't see us ever put a magnifying glass on the other businesses. This is the only one I've seen we put a magnifying glass on. And I've been here since 2016. So that's all I gotta say.
Ms. Miller?
Yes, and I realize what Councilor Sullivan said is so true. And that's why I said earlier, communication, working with him, since this is a young man who only been in business 14 months, that's what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
And he is trying to do the things that he's done good for the community, especially feed them. And I understand that the citizens, that is the nuisance, because the bullet has no eyes, there's no respect for person. I understand that. But I think that we, as Alicia said, we should looking at trying to help him. And he also said that he's going to make it a restaurant rather than a lounge. So we have to look at all these things that corrective measures that we can help him grow. This is a young man. This is all I got to say. But I understand, and I feel the sentiment of all the people in the back.
One more thing.
The neighbor next to him, that's right on the main drag, they got no complaints.
One more thing I want to bring to your attention. He said he's renting. So if we revoke his license, what if he finds something somewhere else? He don't have his license for his business to reestablish somewhere else. He can't go anywhere else if you revoke his license, right?
He would be free to do business outside the city.
But what if he wanted to stay in the city?
That would not be allowed.
And move somewhere else?
That would not be allowed.
Right, if we revoke the license, right? Yeah, so that's another thing that I was thinking about too. If you revoke his license, he won't be able to transfer anywhere. He's not buying it, so he can find something somewhere else in the future if there's something in his business plan, I don't know. But I'm just thinking about ways that will that's gonna cut him down completely and to continue to try to grow his business.
Mr. Foley, do you have that petition?
No, I don't have it. I supposed to give it to the police at one point in time. I had went to all my neighbors. Y'all don't have it?
You were supposed to, or you?
I think I gave it to y'all. I went down to the station. I ain't giving you code. I went to the station. I went down to the station and did it.
I never got it. I'm not saying you didn't deliver it to somebody.
And can I tell you one more thing? We have never had a daytime incident. So it can limit the time of night. To daytime, we have never had an incident. The police came out there or none of that. So it just never.
Cassidy, ma'am. I too appreciate the fact that you're young and that you have ambitions to have a business and have put the blood, sweat, and tears into having a business. I want to ask, help us to understand, why do you think these problems are happening? What type, you said that you wanted, that's one question, okay? You said that you wanted to steer this towards a restaurant.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you followed it up by saying with entertainment alongside of the restaurant. Is it the entertainment that is drawing this negative activity?
it's the different people, different crowds and different people that come in there. You got a certain crowd of people that come in there, and I'm not trying to attract that crowd for one. I got it, started out as 21, then we went to 25. I guess I don't want a younger crowd. It's kind of like I want an older crowd. I feel like with an older crowd, that wouldn't go on much as it would.
And an older crowd that's going to be involved in these sorts of activities, though, that would want to act in violent ways and cause traffic disturbances and on and on and on?
I don't think an older crowd would do that, man. It's like a more of a laid back, Marvin Gaye type of crowd that I want. You know Marvin Gaye? That's what I'm trying to attract right there. That'll set the mood, set the tone. You understand what I'm saying? Wild Wild West music, you feel what I'm saying?
I would strongly encourage you to get involved with the Chamber of Commerce also to sharpen your professionalism, thank you, so that you are helping to make our community better. That's what we all want in this room. We all want to be able to be in our homes and be safe and not have noise. We don't want to be pulled over to somebody else's beat. Not when we're in our homes. We want our homes to be safe, and I'm sure you do too. Put yourself in the shoes of your neighbors, the neighbors that are around your club. How would you feel if these sorts of things were happening in your community? Rocking a baby to sleep and then hearing gunshots, I would be mortified. And I can imagine that you would be too, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Foley, I asked you just a few moments ago what your standard was for when a business becomes illegal. And I believe that you said something to the effect of when it causes fear to the neighbors. 3 shootings and what we have heard from other members of the public tonight, haven't you met that standard?
There's certain people in the community that not everybody complains. I got people that stay beside me, sir. I mean, people that's behind me, people that beside me, they haven't complained, they haven't came, they haven't said anything to me. I check on those people. I go make sure y'all want something to eat. Y'all got a problem? Is this going on? I haven't had a problem with the whole community.
The question that I ask you is, by your own standard, when a business engages in operations that cause fear from its neighbors in the community, with 3 shootings at your business, haven't you met that standard?
No, I don't feel like I met this.
You don't believe that you've caused fear in your neighbors?
I feel like some things have happened to cause fear, but I don't feel like my establishment is no.
Ms. Mayor,
hold on, just Ms. Sullivan.
But I want to draw to the public attention.
Ms. Sullivan, I will be glad to
go ahead,
recognize you.
and then I
Just
want
give me a
to
second.
Go ahead.
Another issue that you raised is whether or not you have suggested that you would change your operations and then it would operate more as a restaurant than an entertainment venue or lounge.
Correct.
Your application is for Topic Lounge, correct?
Correct.
Not for a restaurant, correct?
A bar, grill, restaurant.
But the operation, the thing that we have before us to consider is whether to allow you to continue doing what you've been doing or not. Not something different, correct?
Yes, what's included in a lounge is a restaurant also. It's not just a club. A club and a lounge is different.
But even to Ms. Campbell's point, to her question to you, you're not saying that you aren't engaging in the same sort of entertainment, which has attracted the negative incidents.
I just said I'm making more of a restaurant.
But also entertainment.
I mean, it can be also more, I mean.
So you're really not making any assurance to city council that you're
Well,
going
I'm gonna share the city council, if I get my business license, it will change. It won't be the same. That's what I'm basically saying. It will not be the same. It will not be the same. Changes will be made, more security in the parking lot. More security in the parking lot.
Mr. Mayor, may I speak, please?
Yes, ma'am.
So you asking him, he was saying in his appeal that he wanted to grow his business towards a restaurant. And I think you directed his questions for assurance of us providing him his licenses. So that's two different things. You were kind of drilling him about the stuff he was saying, stating to you in his appeal about growing it towards a restaurant. Those are the desires that you have, right?
Right.
That's what I understood. And the next thing I was gonna bring to attention, we're in small towns, the mentality is different when you don't have something you've never had in a long time. I hate to use a starvation type of metaphor, but when you don't have something for a long time and then you have it, sometimes people go nuts. It's a mentality. That is exactly what it is. It's a mentality, and we can't just close down everything that comes open. When people keep doing stuff, they'll never learn. Does that make any sense?
Ms. Sullivan, since you posted a question to me, I'll be glad to answer. If this is not a nuisance business to which our ordinance applies, I don't know what is. And I don't mean any disrespect to you by saying that. I know that you're not personally out there pulling the trigger at 3 separate shootings. But nuisance ordinances govern things like having the music too loud.
Right.
And this council in the past has taken action, not since I've been mayor, but in years in the past, to deal with establishments which have engaged in business practices that were bothersome to their neighbors. It didn't involve anything nearly as serious as stray bullets. If the members of this city council want to tell the members of the public of the city of Lawrence that stray bullets emanating from one business that has issues on an ongoing basis that are more than all of the other similar businesses combined, the council can do that, but it won't be with my support. I think if we don't stand up to issues like this, we're going to get exactly what we deserve. We have to, at some point, be able to find our backbones and say this is not acceptable. And with all due respect, Mr. Pulley, to the conversations you're saying that you've had with your neighbors, I've had your neighbors come to me too. I've had your neighbors all around you scared for their families' lives. They're not okay with what's going on there. Which is why I was saying I would like to see the petition. I'd love to see the names on that petition.
I can get that for you. I can get that for you, though.
It's a lot more.
My question is, I realize that things has happened. And did a lot of these shootings happen after the policemen stopped being outside? And what did you hire the policemen for? Inside or outside?
Outside, man.
Okay. Were you having all of this stuff while the policemen was outside?
I had one of them. I had 3 shootings. One of them, 2 of them happened.
Outside?
Yes, ma'am. Police was outside for one of them. One of them happened, the police was outside, and the other 2, they went out there.
Well, When you say that, well, the way you're looking at it like that, and when these other shootings happened, no one was outside.
No police.
Yeah, no police. One incident was nobody was outside, somebody was just shooting. Wasn't nobody to get charged with attempted murder, just some kids shooting, I don't know. Just some kids shooting.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you fire the policemen that was to be outside of your building?
No, I didn't never fire them, no. I stopped doing business with them when they tried to when I went to the police, I said I tried to build a relationship with them. I said I'm gonna be in Lawrence City, so I'm gonna get a relationship with y'all police. I want y'all to be my security, how much y'all gonna charge, this and that. Business went down. I couldn't afford what they were saying. It was me coming out my own pocket from the business, paying them, so I can't afford y'all no more, I don't need y'all anymore at that point in time. That's how that went, when we went out separate ways. When they asked me on Tuesday, can they be my security? I said, no, I can't afford y'all on Tuesday. And when that following Tuesday, I got a $500 ticket. The Tuesday after that, I got a $500 ticket from Lawrence County Police Department. That's how it went. Lawrence City. And that's how that went.
Oh, they gave you 2 citations.
They weren't.
I hired them on Friday and Saturday. Every Friday and Saturday, I never had a noise order. Never. When Lawrence County Police City was there, I never had a citation, not one time. He came to me, said, I want to work on want you to hire for Tuesday. I'm like, nah, I can't hire y'all for Tuesday. I don't need y'all. The following Tuesday, I got 2 $500 tickets back to back.
What were the tickets for?
He said it was for noise order.
Just one at a time.
And the tickets was for noise, you say?
Yes, ma'am. But the music is the same on Friday and Saturday when the police is there. And on Tuesday, I might have a busy crowd sometimes, and sometimes I might not have a busy crowd. So if the police not being called on Friday and Saturday when they're there, why would somebody call the police on Tuesday and only on Tuesday but not call on Friday and Saturday? They gave me 2 $500 tickets back to back. After I turned down, I don't want to hire them on Tuesday.
That's not true. So the reality is, I went to him first initially. He wasn't even in business for a month. I took the initiative to go to him to try and mentor him on his business, walked around his business, showed him all the things he could do. I sent him a letter back in July explaining everything he needed to do, security protocol-wise, to make sure he understood everything. Then he came in and talked to me. There were 3 different correspondences. I can't tell him how to run his business. I tried to. He doesn't like police officers. That's what it boils down to. He doesn't want us in there. You've told my officers, you've shut my officers down trying to come in your business many a times. Even when I went out there on the first incident, you did not want to cooperate. Your security guards are not real security guards. They're not SLED licensed security guards. And they're not marked in security. They could be anybody in this room to say that they're security. And he calls them his security. And then none of them will cooperate with the investigation. So when we get there and we ask them anything, like, I don't know, I gotta go. So we held them there because we believe they were a witness to the attempted murder, the first one. They were not cooperative at all. Eventually, he showed us the video camera footage. The security guards are tackling the gentleman shooting in the club. How do they not see anything?
Chief Crosby,
Just
person
let's do one at a time here. I believe Ms. Sullivan and then Ms. Lattimore, Ms. Sullivan, and then Councilor Lowry.
So earlier you said he was working with you. Now he's not. So was he cooperative or was he not cooperative?
Initially, he hired security, okay? We went out there. When our security tried to make entry to render aid to see what was happening in an active shooting situation, they weren't cooperative. His security personnel wasn't cooperative. He has given us the video footage. We would have gotten it anyways. We would have gotten a search warrant for it. So he did not pay our security guards on a time in violation of his contract. And then he did not want to have us for security from that point forward. We never responded out there unless we got a call from the community. When we get a call, we respond. That was it. We don't go out there looking for noise ordinance violations. If we get a call, we respond. If we corroborate that it's in violation and we're standing way across the street, across the roadway, somewhere else, and we're hearing the thumping, feeling the vibrations, then we got a violation.
Do we have a copy of the citation tickets that you?
I don't have a copy.
They in here though, right?
I'm not sure if,
They're not in here?
I'm not sure if they're in that book. I can get them for you, though.
Councilor Lowry?
We're better than this. Lawrence is better than this. Lawrence is a lot better than this. We can sit here and argue all night long about a noise violation. We can argue about trying to mentor somebody in business. I'm sorry, I don't know. Is it in business class, don't shoot at your business? Don't have shooters at your business?
Used to be a Chick-fil-A.
I'm speaking. I didn't speak when you were speaking. You know, I'm not speaking when I'm speaking. This is ridiculous. I mean, we've got a business where I got a whole book from 14 months.
Where's the book for the?
I'm speaking. I'm sorry.
You do.
No, it's my time. I didn't speak during your time. It's my time.
Let's be respectful of each other. Councilor Lowry.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous that we're even sitting here talking about mentoring somebody in business. We're talking about a noise violation. We're talking about shooting. We're talking about, what's it gonna take, a dead person before we finally, as a council, stand up and say, yeah, that was a nuisance? You know, it really was a nuisance business after all. It's easy for me, people. It's easy. It's easy. I've listened to everybody. I've been very respectful. I've actually voted to give somebody time to talk. I think due process is important. I'm not a lawyer, but I do believe in that. But I've heard enough. I'm not going to vote to reinstate this license.
Councilor Sullivan?
I think, we don't have all the proper information from the other facilities. I think we press the magnifying glass on this establishment. And I think if we go forward with revoking this young man's license, and he end up getting an attorney and finding out that we wasn't fair, then the city of Lawrence would be in trouble. That's what I think.
Ms. Campbell?
I beg to differ. I want to say, Mr. Pulley, you've gained tons of experience over these past 14 months, and I think you have the tools and the resources to do better next time. But I too think that there's nothing else to talk about, because if you would put yourself in our shoes, in your neighbor's shoes, I think it would be an easy answer.
Mayor, I'd like to make one more
Mr. Bo?
Well, I'm like Martin. I've sat here and listened to all this, and I think I've heard it right at the beginning, and what I saw here was enough for me at the beginning. And, I live up there in that area, and I don't live close enough that I heard shooting and all that stuff. But I went up that road at night, and I've seen what's up there, just riding up down the highway, parked on both sides of the road. You know, you can't hardly get by there on some nights when they have up there. And in that establishment, and all of it's not on him. I'm talking about from day one when they built that place up there. Everything that's been in that building that had to be shut down or either closed up and left. You know. So it's always been a nuisance up there. Not only Mr. Pulley, but other things that was in there. It was a nuisance because I've lived in that area almost 35, 40 years or longer. It's the same old thing up there every time something goes in that building. Not only Mr. Pulley. I'm not Martin. I've heard enough.
Miller, is there any further discussion on your part?
Well, I have heard everything, and I understand the people up in the back of the club. But still, my point, what I'm about to say, you have no control as to who come into your building, even if you have police officers there. As I said earlier, you know, unless you got gun control, the detector to come in there, a machine, whatever you do when you go through, to make sure no one have a pistol. Again, I think that I respect the people in the community because I've had people drive by in Jersey. We've had this problem there. But we didn't close the Catalina down back in the day. But still, at this point here, we have listened to everything, and I feel like we revoked his license. He won't be able to get another license in the city. He probably go to the county, and Johnny just not said that I've always had a problem in that building. Why are we still let this man rent this building out for a club? The community with the housing development being there, that's a question that we need to ask ourselves. We still allow him to rent it. If we close him down, revoke his license, this man will rent it to somebody else to come up to open up another club. I said, so we're not solving no problem if we don't put teeth into the future. But we have it right now. We revoke his license, he can go somewhere else, you know? But I hope and pray that whatever decision that we make, it be something we can live with. And I feel for the people here because, like I say, I live in Jersey, and I've experienced drive-by shooting and the club right down the street from me. So that's all I got to say.
I think you made a really good point. People take his license.
Any other thoughts? Ms. Miller, I have a tremendous amount of respect for you and for your input on council. I heard what you said about wanting to make sure that we have good communication and that if somebody needs to have something made clear that we're doing that. I have seen from the communications that have been provided to council and the numerous conversations that have been discussed between the chief and Mr. Pulley, that if there's an issue here about whether or not there's a problem or how to address it, communication is not the problem. And I take Ms. Lowry's point that there's no amount of mentoring that the Chamber of Commerce could do to get somebody to understand that having procedures in place to make sure you don't have 3 shootings and attempted murder among them is not good business practices. Again, I say, if not this, what? If this is not a nuisance business, what is? And if we're saying that we don't want to have a community where things like those drive-by shootings happen, well, by golly, we've got to put our foot down at some point. And this is the one that is in front of us to put our foot down about, or not. But I don't know how I can look at any citizen with a clear conscience and say, yeah, I know that there were 35 calls in 14 months, 3 of which were shootings, but that's not a nuisance to me. I can't do that. And before we vote on this, I would urge members of council to think very, very carefully about having to answer to the community and say that that doesn't constitute a nuisance. Because if it doesn't, what does? Mr.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to call vote.
Can something else be said?
Then a call for the question, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of granting the appeal and issuing a business license to Topic Lounge, please indicate by saying aye. All those in favor of denying the appeal, please indicate by saying no. No. It is the chair's opinion that the noes have it, and the business license appeal is denied. Best of luck to you, sir.
If it was fair, it'd been talked about the business license in the daytime. The nuisance is at night, the nuisance is not in the daytime. So y'all would help y'all talk about the rest.
Chad, get on out the door.
The nuisance ain't in the daytime,
We adjourn.
We need to here. At this time, I will have order.
We're not adjourned.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adjournment, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
What we'll do about it? Somebody else come.